Hello, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. Today I got a bit of a hodgepodge, a little bit of everything. We have some of this might be a kind of a follow-up to a previous video, so check some of my earlier videos out if you want to see the first part of them. We have a figure unboxing that we're going to do with a vintage collection, which is a rare thing if you watch my channel. I generally like to keep these in the package. We also have some, I guess it's the Micro Galaxy Squadron, 2 items that we want to open up. And lastly, we've got a Gentle Giant Entertainment Earth exclusive that we're going to unbox as well. So let's get started with Migs Mayfield here. If you recall in an earlier episode, this actually came through a Target pre-order delivery, sadly, with this giant UPC sticker right over his face and the title of it, the name of the card. And I gently tried to remove it, but if you can look closely, you can see that the card was damaged. Later, I was able to find the figure in the wild in an actual Target, and it was in good shape, so I picked it up. So this one is going to be one of the few vintage collection figures that I open up. And I say that with all seriousness. I do not own a lot of vintage collection figures that are not unboxed. At least, I don't own them in the sense that, a lot of the early VC figures were actually re-releases from previous waves, which I do have loose, but they usually are tinkered with or, soft goods added, something added to it to make it kind of like the ultimate figure. That's how I define it in my head canon. So, but Migs Mayfield has not been released anytime soon, so this will be the probably one of the first Mandalorian figures I've unboxed. So let's get right to it. Obviously, this is the Migs Mayfield that, of course, just dropped it. No good there, but his blaster came out. Oh, actually, no, that's not his blaster. I think that's somebody else's blaster. Uh-oh. I have to check that out. I think somebody's missing a blaster. One of my loose figures. I'll have to check that out. Okay. Take it. And this blaster, it's the same, it looks like it's the exact same blaster as the one I just found on the floor here. I'm going to put as with whenever there's an opportunity to holster. I always use the holster. Why? Because unless you're setting up a diorama, I feel like a holster is a better way to go so you don't lose it. And case in point, I have a blaster here that I found on the floor that I have no idea who it belongs to because it was from a previous unboxing video, and now I got to go back and look at what they are. I think it's a Death Trooper, we had that Death Trooper 4-pack. So here's Migs. I love these new sculpts. I don't know if I can get it close up enough. It doesn't, on my phone, it doesn't want to focus, but that's about as close as I can get it. But look at how cool that likeness is, right? Of course, it comes with a helmet, so we can put the helmet on. I'm a little concerned sometimes when I have a loose figure, putting him in the helmet, simply because I don't want to miscalculate. And when you're staring at all these figures in little clamshell cases or on my shelf or whatever, sometimes you lose track of where's what. So sometimes I'll have them hold the helmet in their hand, will this one work? Maybe it will work. Yeah, he can hold it in his hand. So there you go. All right, so that's cool. So good job. Sorry that you had to get unboxed for the purposes of, but in a way I'm sorry, in a way I'm not sorry, because it's nice to have some loose figures. All right, so let's now talk about the Micro Galaxy Squadron. Now I swore I was not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I had a feeling that I knew that I would if there were vehicles that were released that we really haven't seen before. And this is the Asajj Ventress Genevieve Starfighter, which I do not believe, maybe the titanium, the small titanium, back like 10, 20 years ago, might have released this ship. I don't think so, though. But even if it did, this is, if I can get it a slightly larger version of it, then you can be darn sure that I'm going to be doing that. So I'm not planning on collecting all the different versions of it. Okay, this is a launch edition piece, not rare. I found it. I've since found it multiple times in Walmart. And it's funny because the irony is that I'm actually working on like getting rid of a lot of my micro machine figures or whatever. The old ones from the 90s and the early 2000s. I have been getting rid of them just because, you know, with the exception of the micro series of figures that came out in the 80s, I really don't have much interest in it. So here's the, again, it's like that micro machine size figures. Comes with a little cockpit. So this is kind of cool. It kind of opens up. Oop, and I just broke it. Whoopsie. I don't think, no, I think I just have to, yeah, there we go. So you just kind of, it has like 3 parts in it, and they just kind of all fold in like that. So it's pretty straight out. You just got to be gentle with it, like that. And then you have your, kind of a cool look, a little different, a little otherworldly. And that one piece keeps coming off, but the cockpit is good. So you can just bend, and this only has, actually the articulation on this figure is pretty decent. It's got a head turn, it's got 2 arms, and the bottom hips work. So I think that's kind of nice. All right, so I'm just making sure that did I? No, that's it. So okay, so there it is, and then it comes with this little, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to close up the wings here because I'm not 100% sure how this fits on here. Oh, yes I am. Yes I am. It's got a little, okay. There you go. So it really is meant to be displayed with the wings folded. So there you go. But nice, you know, it's a cool, unusual vehicle, like to add to the vehicle collection. Now, that one was good. Now we're going to great. Now we're going to the launch edition version of the Outland TIE Fighter. It's one of, it's considered a rare. All right, so, but sorry, it's not that rare because I've seen it in the wild anyway, so I'm opening it up. Sorry, folks. Sorry if that upsets anybody. But this is an unboxing channel, and I do enough stuff, keeping things in the package for stuff like this. But do I have a? Yes, I do. I have a little. This one, unlike that first one, this one only comes with a teeny tiny little tripod stand. Okay, but this is the TIE Fighter that has the folding wings. Now they lock in place, so it just looks like any other TIE Fighter. If you're going to display this, you got to display it in landing mode, because come on, you never see this, right? You never ever see this. And then there's a little cockpit, and it looks like this thing just rests. Excuse me. It just kind of rests on top of this tripod, and it doesn't look like it has any holes. It just kind of rests there. Okay, so you can just put it anywhere. And the fact that the wings kind of help elevate it as well. And that leaves us with Giancarlo Esposito's figure, his character, Moff Gideon. Thank you. I was having trouble remembering. Oh my, it's been too long without Moff Gideon. We need Moff Gideon back. Speaking of that, has anybody seen? Have anybody watched the his little interview in Star Wars Celebration? If you haven't, you got to watch it. It's like going to church. He gets like very preachy, but in a fun way. You know, he gets up, he starts walking around and gearing up the crowd, and it's really cool. So there it is. Okay, again, you can always display it with the wings up or down, but I recommend wings down because there are, probably dozens, if not dozens, maybe not about hundreds, but dozens of different size TIE Fighter displays that are basically just them on their wings. But these are, you want the wings folded because we've never seen that before. So that is cool. All right. So now we have those two kind of done. So now let's go to our last, but certainly not least. This is another Gentle Giant Jumbo figure. Okay, and like if you've been watching my more recent episodes, we've had a whole series of these come release that are unlike the original jumbo figures that have been released over the last 10 or plus years. This is actually not one that was originally out in the 70s and 80s, the vintage figure. Now that they're trying to make some more modern figures in the vintage look, they have now started including those as part of the Gentle Giant Jumbo series, which I don't know. I like and I don't like. I like it. I mean, I like the figure, and I like that we have that we're doing that. But I also feel as though if we're not careful. Ooh, just realized I almost threw out Moff Gideon's cape here. Keep that for later. We have to be careful that there's so many figures that they've already come out with, which you can't really see, but they're up on the top of my shelf. See if I can. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. There's so many figures on top of my shelf there, and now they haven't completed the original line. I don't know if they ever plan on it, but now we have these other figures. Now Tarkin was originally released as part of the Escape from the Death Star board game, the original 3 3/4. I think it was either a Walmart or a Target exclusive, and you only could buy it by buying the whole board game. But they've now created a jumbo version of the figure. Now, if you look on the back, okay, you'll see that collect all these figures, right? Here's Vader, but this is the concept Vader. So previously unreleased, not an original vintage figure. Grand Moff Tarkin, not an original. Of course, the Mandalorian, not original. Boba Fett prototype, not original. Luke Skywalker concept, not original. The Mandalorian with the jetpack, not original. Imperial Commander, there's an original one. That one, and we just unboxed that one the other day. And Admiral Thrawn, not original. So out of these 8, only one of them is an original. So 7 figures that are not. So I don't know. We'll see. But if there's a desire to have them, then they will continue to make them. I will say this: I appreciate one thing. I think they did better. Now, put a comment if you know this. But sorry. Okay, I did not unbox the. I did not unbox the original figure. I just have it in the card, so I didn't notice if it came with this thing or not. I kind of like it. When they did the hold on one second. When they did the Grand Moff Tarkin with the Power of the Force 2 line back in the 90s, he just came with a blaster, which I always thought was weird. I said Tarkin would never have a blaster. Tarkin would always have someone else have a blaster for him. So, but this is nice because you can hold this like that, which I like. Even though he never really had a staff like this, if he's going to have anything, he's going to have a staff, and it kind of is secured nicely in his hand, whereas the weapons tend to fall out. So I appreciate that. Does he look like Tarkin? I mean, he's okay. They definitely are going for the old look. You know what I mean? They're going for that look of, oh, look, it's an action figure like from the 70s and 80s. It doesn't quite look like the character, but we are forgiving because we are a forgiving audience from the 1970s and 80s. Whereas now, with you can see with the Migs Mayfield, it's a whole different world now. But that's not what the point of this is. The point of this is for the retroactive kind of nostalgia of the 70s and 80s. So the look kind of look like the character, the actor, but Peter Cushing, but not really. So I'm okay with it. This is the only unboxing I did. As I said, the other one is remained carded. So I'm enjoying this. Very nice. It'll find a nice place up there next to the Imperial Commander and all the other ones. So way to go, Gentle Giant. And this was an Entertainment Earth exclusive. So that will do it for today's episode, okay? And be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, check out all my videos on Instagram and Twitter. We've had a ton of releases come out. I actually believe at this point I am caught up with all of our deliveries. We've gotten everything Anything we picked up in a store, anything that came in the mail, anything that we did from our Disney trip, it's all been uploaded at this point. So as of the recording of this video, the next content. Now, of course, there could be more stuff that comes in the mail, but I don't usually open up only one thing. I usually wait for 2 to 3 or 4 things and do them in one shot. Otherwise, my videos would be like 3 minutes long, and I'd like to go a little longer than that. So if that is not the case, if we get to this point and we're still waiting on a couple of items, then the next thing we'll do is we'll go back and do some Sideshow retrospectives and check out some of the old Sideshow figures and kind of take a look at them in more detail. All right, but until next time, folks, check out Instagram and Twitter at Darth Tuba, the War of the Stars podcast, Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you. You may file when ready.